Hello students and welcome to IP Study Lecture videos. In this video, we are going to cover the 4th chapter of grade 6 mathematics, and the name of the chapter is Data Handling and Presentation. Students, first of all, let us see what are the different topics we are going to cover under this chapter. So we'll see what are telemarks and why do we need to arrange data using telemarks. Then we'll see what are pictographs, and then in the later part of the video we'll see what are bar graphs and how to construct bar graphs, and also we'll see how to make a attractive bar graphs, which is a special case of bar graph. Okay, now student, first of all, data. So any information that we collect is called data. Let's suppose if we want to collect the favorite fruits that students have, so if we take around the class and ask every student collect the information that first student has opted for mango and so on, so this information that we have recorded is the data. Yes, so data are quite easy to handle when they are in limited amount, but when the data are in large amount, then we need special method to interpret or arrange them. Yes, now so here are the list of students and their pickup stops. So here there are very many data that we need to see and identify which student will be in the stop 1 or how many student will be in stop 2. So how we can do that? We can do that using telemarks like this, where telemarks is like using we represent the data in a telemarks by drawing vertical lines like this, and after for one we have to draw one vertical line, then for 2 we have to draw the 2 vertical lines, then 3, then 4, and for the 5th, if you want to draw the 5th, we have to take a slanting stroke like this, and this one group of 5 is called group of 5 in a telemarks. So in telemarks we use vertical lines, and for after every 4 vertical lines we have a slanting line to represent the number 5. So here we can say how the number of student for stop 1 is for represented using telemarks, and for other also. Clear? Now here is also one example of an English test. Following marks were obtained by 40 students. So we can represent those marks of 40 students using telemarks like this, depending upon how much student have scored that particular marks. For example, 3 marks has been scored by 4 students, so we'll represent by drawing 4 vertical lines. And there are 6 students that have scored 4 marks, so we'll represent it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the slanting line, a group of 5, and then another one for representing the 6th one. Yes, now student, there is another method to represent our data other than telemarks, which is pictograph. In this we use pictures to represent the data, which make it more eye-catching and more representful. So here we use pictures, which is called key, and a single key can represent different or many items at a time. For example, here we have a data that is represented using a picture of fan, and this picture of fan is used to represent the number of fans made by a factory in a month for 4 different weeks. So here the key is that one fan will represent 100 fans. So it means in the first week factory had produced 300 fans, then in the second 200, third week 400, and the 4th week 300. So this makes it easy to represent a large amount of data, because let's suppose if you want to draw telemarks for 400 fans, it will be quite difficult task to do so. So here comes the pictograph, which makes it more easy, and you can say we can represent it in a simple method using pictures, and pictures is called key, as I have told you, and each key has a value that is assigned as per the data that is given. Yes. Now here one more example that you can go through, and the key or scale, we can use scale or key as a name given to this. So scale is that one single bulb represents 6 bulbs here. Yes. Now how to draw pictographs. So this was interpretation of pictographs, where we are given with pictures and the key or the scale, and usually we use key for pictographs. Yes. So in using that key, we have found it out how the number of fans has been produced during the 4 weeks of a month. Now here we have drawing a pictograph. Here we have 3 steps. First, identify symbol that you will use to, that is key, that you will use to represent the data. Then list the categories or item for which data is provided. What type of data is given for fans produced or for favorite fruits or favorite flowers, like that. Okay, draw the symbol next to each category depending upon the scale or the key that we have taken. Okay, so key here for this data where these are in multiple of 4, we can use any shape. We can take any shape to represent 4 degrees Celsius here, because this is a temperature of 7 days in a city. So we can use a key to represent 4 degrees Celsius. So the key is taken depending upon the data that is given. That is, here we have multiple of 4s in the data, so we can use a 4 as a key value. So one key has 4 degrees Celsius as data, and then if we take half of it, we can also divide it into 2 ways. Taking full is representing a certain number of items, and then half of them will represent the half of the number of items. So here one single half of this part will represent 2 degrees Celsius. Now here we have some data that we have made depending upon the data that were given to us. So 36 degrees Celsius in the Monday, it means we have to draw 9 full we can say quadrilateral or parallelogram that you can see here, or kite. So we have represented using 9 symbols like this. So similarly, for depending upon the data of the other days of the week, we can represent it in a table like this. So you can go through the number of key that is being used or the number of symbol that has been used depending upon the data that we have, and check if these are correct or not. Yes. Now, so all these questions are based on the thing that we have already covered. You can go through them. Now next is bar graph. So there is another method to represent data in data handling, or we can say in our data representation cases. So the data can be represented using bar graphs, in which we use rectangular bars to represent the data, and the height of the bars represent the value of the given quantity. Like, let's suppose the first topic is interpretation of bar graph. So how we can interpret bar graph? So in a bar graph we have 2 axes. One is the x-axis and other one is y-axis, like this. Yes. Now scale, instead of key we use scale here. For example, this 1 unit represent 12 items or 12 quantity of certain material that we are going to represent using the bar graph. So scale means how much 1 unit is representing, like the key that we have used. Yes. Now here we have some data that we have to go through. So read the graph given below representing the expenditure on the educational system of a country particular financial year, and answer the following questions. So let's see what are the questions. In which system was the minimum provision made? So more the height of the bars, it means the more values it has. So the longest bar is this. So minimum will be having the lowest height. So the lowest height is this. So we can see the answer will be special classes that is being given here. So minimum will be given by this bar. So you see, without data we can directly jump into the question that has been asked from a given bar graph, because the height of the bars represent the data that what is the minimum or maximum. If we want to know the particular value, you have to go through the bars also. But if we want to find out minimum or maximum, it makes the bars easy to interpret the data. Yes. Now the next question is, what was the total amount of money estimated for smooth functioning of the educational system of the country? So you can see that this bar represent 30 crores. Yes. Similarly, you can go through each bar and you can add all the values to get the final answer as 158 crores. So see, the bars help us to identify the values directly, and then we can add them to find out the total value that is required over here. Now the next is, what percentage of total estimated amount was kept for library? So where is library? So we can see library is here and it is around 28 crores. So finding out the percentage, we can use the formula of percent, that is the quantity and the total quantity times 100, and you will get this answer. Next, under which head maximum provision of estimated amount was met? Maximum. So this is for up to class 10. So this is up to class 10. Highest bar that we can see over here is, or the highest height of the bar is this, up to class 10. Yes. Now, moving to the next part of it, constructing a bar graph. So constructing a bar graph is quite similar to interpretation, but there are some steps that we need to follow. First of all, take a bar graph. So we have to take a bar graph like this, and we have to draw two axes. One will be the x-axis and other will be the y-axis. Now we'll take the scale representing the value, like for 1 unit we can take 10 or 20 depending upon the data. For example, here we have the data of the area cultivated under different crops in the year 2015 was as follows, and here we have some data which we can say that it is a quite multiple of 10 or nearest to the multiple of 10. So we take 1 unit is equals to 10 lakh hectares because the data is in 10 lakh hectares. So now, depending upon the value of each crop, that is for wheat we have 25, so we'll represent 25 here in the mid of 20 and 30. Similarly, for each values we can represent the data like this. So these bars are made according to the data that we have. And remember, this x-axis always contain quantitative data, like some days or some, we can say, some types of crops like this, and the numerical data is given over here. So generally the x-axis represent the categories like days of week or types of crop or types of fruit, and the y-axis represent the quantitative data like numbers of vehicles, number of crops, like that. So these steps can be used to construct a bar graph. So draw two perpendicular to each other on the graph paper and represent them as x and y axis that I have told you. Along the x-axis mark crops. In the x-axis we use the categories, that is crop, and the scale is for 10 lakh hectare we have 20 small divisions that is taken over here. It means 20 divisions will represent 10 lakh hectares. Yes. Now next is the art of infographics. So infographics are nothing but we can use visual and more attractive method to represent the data. Here these are bars graph only, but they are made to convey the information in more visual way. Like infographics are enhanced version of data visuals like bar graphs. They use artistic designs, colors and images. So this makes it more eye-catching to find out the values. Like here we can see the top performer is given by some image like this, and we can see that this is around 20 performers that have been ranked as top performers. So in this we can include 3D bars or triangles or to enhance our bar graph. So it makes it more engaging and eye-catching, that is more easier to interpret and make it fun and engaging to just find out the data that we want to get from these graphs. And these are called infographics because these are the upgraded version of the bar graphs. Yes. Now the aim is to present information more clearly and attractively to the viewer. Here is an example of bar graph which can be considered as infographics. So here is one of the example of infographics. Yes. So what this infographics is showing, this infographic shows the performance of data of class 6 student in their annual exam. Now using these symbols, it makes it easier to identify what type of representation is made. Like top performance can be considered using stars, and this one represent above average, and two medal represent the gray medal represent average student, then below average with 3, and this we can say alarming sign represent struggling students. So this make it more easier to interpret and find out what different bar represent. So students, this is all from this video. I hope you have understood the concept very well. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, keep learning, keep practicing.